All right, I think we're live. Welcome, everyone. We are really stoked today to have all of you here together to talk about scaling your app business by leveraging Gadget and the BigCommerce apps marketplace. Just real quick, if you're not familiar, BigCommerce is I had the stream up. I made a big mistake, but that's okay. Okay, that's what happens when you go live. So again, if you're not familiar, BigCommerce is a commerce platform serving as the engine for thousands and thousands of storefronts. Over the past few years, we've invested pretty heavily in composable architecture and the idea of openness. And leaving things to the experts in many cases and leaning into allowing businesses and developers like you to choose the best of breed solutions for whatever you're building. So that brings us here today to talk about apps. The BigCommerce app marketplace has over 1,200 apps and integrations listed today, and we're eager for more. Today, we're going to hear from oBundle and from Gadget about leveraging a newer tool in your BigCommerce toolbox, Gadget, to help expedite and simplify your app build and deployment, and what oBundle's experience in doing so has been like. So with that, I would love to introduce Franco from Gadget. Let me bring him up on the screen. Hey, Franco, and I'm going to let you take it away and talk a little bit about Gadget.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Katie and BigCommerce, for having us. Really excited to share a little bit more about the Gadget platform today, and then obviously have a conversation with the oBundle team who's been using us for a few months to help build some apps. So, really quickly, let me lay some groundwork about what Gadget is so you have an idea of what we're going to talk about. My name is Franco, as Katie mentioned, and I run partnerships here. And Gadget is basically the fastest way to build and run web apps. And if you go to the next slide, Katie, real quick, sorry. We helped basically 10x your developer output because we give your team everything they need to build, deploy, run, scale, manage your e-commerce apps all in one place. And so what does all this tooling in one place mean for you? It means you've got this foundation already made within the click of a button, and you're able to just start building what makes your code and application unique. Focus on that code. And so that really allows you to complete projects faster, increase your profits because you're able to take on more projects, and basically beat your competition because we're taking care of everything under the hood for you, so you can just focus on shipping projects. So what is Gadget? We save you time because there's no infrastructure to set up, as I mentioned. Very low maintenance. We help with everything related to that. There's no repetitive code that you have to write from project to project. It's already available out of the box. And we've got an awesome built-in BigCommerce integration that will instantly spin up that full stack app. So we're looking at React powered by Vite on the front end with Big Design already installed. We've got a Node backend and a Postgres database. And again, Gadget takes care of all of the security and scalability of the application for you, which comes in handy during really busy seasons like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and flash sales. As I mentioned, we've got a team here, like a DevOps team. So basically, we monitor and scale your apps 24/7. There's no configuration required. It just always happens automatically, and we're taking care of that for you. Next slide. Zoom in and out. So what makes Gadget faster? Really, there's a couple of things that we touched on earlier in terms of what comes out of the box. But basically, the old way of developing is you're spending a lot of time on, setting up all of your infrastructure, boilerplate, and any busy work to kind of get started. And then finally, you're able to kind of start tackling those client features, the things that people really, really want. Sometimes other stuff will pop up out of nowhere that can slow down, your timelines and affect your bottom line. Things like support and maintenance, unexpected issues. Sometimes there's something, you got to debug something, library's not working. And then, of course, ongoing infrastructure upkeep like security, performance, DevOps. Again, Gadget kind of takes all of that away, as we'll see in the next slide. You're able to basically start immediately. Within just a few minutes, you've got that full stack app already set up, and you can dive right into building the features that your clients really want and save them time and money so that you're able to crush those deadlines and they can come back to you with more work. So Gadget, as I mentioned, provides auto-scaled infrastructure, instant OAuth right into BigCommerce, manage all the session tokens, and you got that embedded front end with Big Design baked right in for you. So you might be wondering, what can you build with Gadget? Basically, the biggest use cases are custom apps, whether these are built bespoke for a single merchant or as an agency or developer. If you want to build like a product as a service, you can install the app on several stores. The second biggest use case is integration, connecting BigCommerce or several different tools together to move data and that kind of stuff. Very big use case. And finally, the third use case is public apps. So you're able to quickly build a public app and submit it to BigCommerce for approval and distribution. Gadget has really been designed for agencies and as well as freelancers who are building a lot of repetitive, a lot of apps over and over again. We've got a bunch of really nice features in there, like auto-generated documentation, so you don't have to spend your time doing that. It's ready to go for your client. We've got all the baked-in collaboration tools like Git, source control, working locally with like a cursor or VS Code, and a bunch of app templates to really help you save time and jump right into development. Finally, I just want to quickly mention that we do have a partner program, so you can earn 20% lifetime revenue share on any of the client projects that you build with Gadget, and we're here to help support you in that. We've got free onboarding for your team. We're happy to do pair programming to work with you to help coach, optimize apps, and there's a ton of opportunities to collaborate through case studies, co-marketing, sponsorship, and so these are just some of the agencies that we work with around the world, and we really should have had the oBundle logo right there. So, sorry guys, next time.
All right, thank you for that great intro to Gadget, Franco. And now next up, I want to introduce Andrew and Corbin from oBundle. Let me bring you guys on the stage. There we go. I'll remove myself in a second so everyone can see. Well, you just can't really see me, but that's fine. If you aren't familiar, but I'm sure that you are, oBundle is, and I think I'm right here, the longest running BigCommerce specific agency. They definitely have more BigCommerce experience than I do, and I work here. So Andrew and Corbin, I would love if you guys would give a brief intro of yourselves and oBundle.
Sounds great. Thank you, Katie. Yeah, thanks for having us, and thanks, Franco, for inviting us to the webinar. Really, that's why we're here, is because Franco reached out a few months ago and said, hey, I got this awesome product, and could it be useful for BigCommerce? So that's what we've been doing. So a little bit of background about us. I used to work actually at BigCommerce way back in the day, over a decade ago in 2013 and 2014. And while I was there, I realized there was a need for an agency that just focused on BC and just did design and development. I found a lot of getting feedback from a lot of BigCommerce clients that, I hired this agency and maybe they do more marketing, more advertising, and they don't really focus on design and dev. Or maybe I hired this agency and they work on a ton of different platforms, BigCommerce just being one of them. So I realized there was a market niche there to focus just on design and dev and just for BC. And we've been doing that for over 10 years, served over 600 clients, built about 90 custom apps at this point, hundreds of custom themes for clients. We do a ton of integrations between BigCommerce and other platforms, which is really why Gadget was attractive to us as something to build on. So next slide, please. So had a couple of accolades from BigCommerce over the years. Just have some quotes here, a couple of things to show off. This is Seek Outside, one of our portfolio clients. And next, just some more stuff to show off. We have a theme in the BigCommerce theme store called Austin. That's a stencil theme. And we're also working on new Catalyst themes for BigCommerce's new theme engine. So we actually have 2 projects in the pipeline for that as well. So super excited for that. And then just a couple of the clients we've worked with over the years, if you guys want to check them out. To kind of harp on the apps again, since we've built about 90 private apps for clients over the years, these have been on a ton of different platforms, and kind of just maybe a client wants us to work on their hosting that they want, or maybe we're trying out something new. And so as a result of the last 10 years, we've tried a bunch of different stuff. And this Gadget really is the one that brings all the tools together and helps us keep everything in one shop. So we're not just reaching out and grabbing some other tool that we need for a particular project. So happy to dive into any questions and kick her off.
Yeah, awesome. I think I guess we'll just pick up there, and I know you gave us a brief introduction of yourself and oBundle, but I guess maybe can you dive into that a little bit deeper just to help set some more context, like what really led you to start it, and what types of projects do you specialize or focus on today?
Yeah, we really focus on, I guess we have a reputation out there in the BigCommerce partner space for complex builds, and beautiful and complex at the same time. Um, you know, a trend right now we're seeing with BigCommerce merchants is more towards B2B, but then those B2B merchants want a B2C experience. So that comes with making a beautiful front end, but it comes with also a lot of requirements for back-end data for moving things between their ERP they may be married to, and or some obtuse system that they need to integrate BigCommerce with. And that's where Gadget would come in, is we need to build them a middleware app. So a lot of our clients and a lot of enterprise clients need a middleware app of some sort to do something, whether it's accounting needs reporting data that their system can't make, or whether we need to move product data or order data or manipulate that data in the meantime. So that's really come in handy. So we really, to not really answering your question, to back to why I founded it, is I realized there was a need. I could use my skills as kind of knowing how things can get done at BigCommerce to help clients get things done. Like I said, there's a lot of partners out there that work on tons of different platforms, and so you're not really the sharpest knife for BigCommerce, or the most honed in for there. You're more like a Swiss Army knife, whereas we are, dedicated to BC. Over the years, we ramped up to about 50 years collective experience on our team. So we specialize in anything from making themes to the BigCommerce theme store, making middleware, making apps. And over the years, I guess I've been hesitant to put apps in the App Store because of all the overhead that has needed to be done, whether it's make a custom billing, which we'll talk about later, or all the other things that come into managing users and databases and things like that I didn't want to have to worry about if the app scales. And so that's really why what we're talking today is kind of everything that we've done over the last 10 years has can be simplified as far as app development goes inside of Gadget. So
that's awesome. Yeah. And maybe can you speak to that pain point, not just in terms of public apps, but even just for clients? Like, what was really involved in building these apps and integrations on BigCommerce, previously or even today without using Gadget? And I'll toss that out to both Andrew and Corbin to get both of your perspectives on that.
Is that good? Because I think I was going to pass that one to Corbin.
Okay.
Sounds good. Hey, I'm Corbin. I'm lead developer here at oBundle. Kind of oversee all of our junior and senior devs and heavily involved in the app side of things. So yeah, mostly for our private clients. Andrew mentioned we posted on a variety of different platforms. Some they have strict security requirements. We have to use who they have vendor contracts with. For the most part, we're kind of a Google shop, GCP, Firebase, and then if we need some more complex stuff, we'll drop a server in a Droplet on DigitalOcean. And while they're not, especially Firebase side and Google side, too complex, there's still a lot of configuring to do just to get your basic functions and database set up. And then if you want to bring in storage, scheduling tasks, there's a whole bunch of pieces that kind of fit together and can potentially not communicate well and break apart at any time. Same with DigitalOcean. We're kind of a small shop. We don't have a dedicated DevOps team. So having to set up the Nginx server, reverse proxy, certificates, all that stuff, process management, just to keep them running is a big overhead. So we've kind of liked the idea of bringing it all together in one area.
Yeah, that makes sense, a ton of sense. And so now with a few projects under your belt, including one public app in the BigCommerce marketplace, what's that process and experience of just working with Gadget been for you and the team, just in terms of like learning the platform, what it brings to you guys as an agency, and some of those pain points you were talking about?
Yeah, so it's definitely helped speed up our process. I know that's your goal, and it's truly helping us. Being a, you know, the framework's all kind of the same, React-based front end using big design. There's not really a learning curve to have to redo that. The back end is still basically JavaScript node function. There's a little bit of learning curve to kind of like the global actions and the actions that you can do with your database and that custom like gadget layer that's between the functions in the database. But it truly is, a one-click setup. We can set up a project in Gadget, set up an app in BigCommerce, drop the URLs that you give us into BigCommerce, grab the app's credentials, drop them into Gadget, and an app's ready to go. You got a splash screen, install it on your sandbox store, and it's there.
Put it this way, I tasked Corbin with putting up 10 apps by the end of the year, and I would not have done that if we weren't working with Gadget, or I would have been a completely unrealistic goal. It would not be possible, but it's something we have on the schedule now. So yeah, getting things quicker to market and making more money too. The quicker you get something up there, the more market time, more exposure you have. So
Absolutely. And what's the reception been like inside the team? How's everybody been adopting it, or like working with our team and your team kind of to learn the ropes?
It's been going good. We have a few other devs that are working on the apps for this big push, and we're all on the Discord channel. So we have kind of a back and forth with Gadget devs and Gadget community. You have the change log and kind of like a wish list and future requests going on. So it's nice to kind of see everything that's happening with that. And
yeah.
So far it's been going good. It's nice. It's also nice. It's kind of a cohesive environment. We're all doing the same thing, working kind of on the same back end and database. So there's not, a different one on Firebase and a different one in DigitalOcean that we have to manage for all these apps. So it's been nice for the team to kind of you can just jump in and go. Once you've worked on one of them.
Too, we can even learn and help our competitors too, which is unique. Because we're all working on the same goal here. So yeah, somebody else may come up with have a problem, and we can learn from that historically, or everybody can kind of collaborate to get it done. So it's a really cool kind of insider community,
Nice. That's very cool. And so I know that you guys have implemented unified billing, like a really new feature that just went into GA. So that simplifies the whole process for billing when it comes to applications. So can you tell us a little bit more about your experience using and implementing unified billing, and how that fits in a Gadget and what that means for an organization like oBundle?
Sure, I'll kind of give you some historic on that and then kick it over to Corbin. So like I mentioned before, that was one big thing I just didn't want to do when putting apps in the BigCommerce App Store, was worry about a whole billing system. A few years ago, I decided to just finally bite the bullet and build one. And we built it with Braintree, and we're about to launch it, and unified billing started coming out. And I thought, you know what, I don't want both. Let's just hold off for a second and do all unified billing. And I'll let Corbin talk about the specifics of it, but I love it from a marketing and adoption standpoint, because everybody loves to have their credit card saved. No one likes whipping it out, even if it's sitting on my wallet on my desk. I'd much rather attach it to a card that already exists. And so the ability for unified billing for customers to be able to charge apps to their BigCommerce account is just, I'm so excited. Less overhead for us, more money making, and ease of use for the client, less customer service. So win-win-win. But yeah, I will let Corbin take it for the technicals.
Yeah, it definitely takes a lot of pressure off a developer as well. You don't have to build out a front-end form, even if it's a drop-in form from Braintree that's collecting user payment information, sending that off, and then managing the subscriptions, managing
all that
refunds.
Yeah.
Whereas, you simply just with an API call to the automated billing, set up a checkout, BigCommerce is hosting the checkout right there inside the storefront. They can attach it to their billing on the store, right back into the app, and you're ready to go. We built out the whole Braintree one UI and stuff, but there's still like in the back of your head that we're still kind of managing the billing, and that's not really what I do. I'm not an accountant or, the business end of things. So being able to have that push kind of back to BigCommerce has been nice.
Yeah, and the user experience as well. I mean, it looks seamless for the user. And then props to Gadget for putting it in so quickly. That's one thing I wanted to mention too, is about Gadget, is that they're always updating, that reflecting the BigCommerce API. So something new that's popped into the API, Gadget's going to get in there as quickly as possible. So we don't have to write anything manual. It's going to be into the master record of that. So
it's awesome.
Great.
Yeah, it's great to hear. And so earlier you mentioned that, you guys have done over the years and a collection of different things, all kinds of different apps. And you also mentioned that you guys are making a big push right now before the end of the year in terms of, so what kind of projects are you, taking on? Have you expanded beyond scope? Are you trying things, reaching a little bit more? What is that push about, I guess?
Yeah, I guess the push there is to have as many apps in the App Store as possible, just for visibility's sake, and kind of to productize a couple of the things we've just had in our back pocket for a long time. Some cool ones would be that we're working on. There's some ones that aren't as fun to talk about, but they're important. But like some of the more like ones you can see, because we do a lot of like back-end data manipulation apps. We can see would be custom checkout fields. So you can add additional fields at any step of checkout to collect additional data, like, for instance, how did you hear about us, or what salesman did you use, or perhaps do you want them to put in a purchase order number if they select PO as their payment method, a multitude of things. And this gets saved to metadata, and then we leverage it in the back end of BigCommerce using app extensions. So just when you're editing the order, you can go drop down there in the BigCommerce control panel and see this additional data. And anytime you add or edit a field in our app, and then you can immediately reload checkout and see that change there. So it's instant. There's no delay. The customers are going to see it right away. It's one-to-one. Another cool one we're working on is shared budgets. So right now in BigCommerce, a store credit is one-to-one with the customer. So John Smith has $500. There's no like sharing between users, or John Smith doesn't have access to multiple credit buckets, but that's what this app is. So John Smith can have multiple credit buckets, and those credit buckets can be shared amongst multiple users. This is really helpful for B2B clients who give credit to their merchants or their customers in a variety of different ways, not just one like refund bucket, which would traditionally be like for B2C customers. Corbin, you want to talk about some other cool ones you've been working on, like maybe the order one?
We also have another one that's kind of related to those for order approvals, and it can run conditionally off of those custom fields. So depending on if someone enters in their cost center within that, then there's logic in the order approval to send an email to that approver for that cost center. We've been doing some to enhance some like the customer notes, where right now it's just one big text field and anybody can edit and change anyone's comments, or it's just, not really organized. And a few, we've had customers over the years that, if we had to build like 5 almost identical apps because they all asked the same thing, we're like, well, this would be good to just open up for everyone, because it seems like a lot of people are asking it, and we don't need to keep building private apps for it. So at least for our first push right now, we're doing a lot of those before we start into, I don't know what our experimental apps are going to be in the future.
We're pushing things like also like a loyalty app we're going to put out there in the marketplace. I think a lot of ones out there are too complicated, so I'm literally calling it simple loyalty app. And then file system app, so you can have one place for all of the uploads for all your orders. So right now, if you're a merchant that accepts uploaded images from your clients, like for customization, it's hard to keep all those files and find them all. You have to dig through all your orders. So we have a repository where you can view all those, and cool stuff like that.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I was just gonna ask, like, what does 2025 look like in terms of, are there more Catalyst apps? Are you guys gonna continue to push towards, putting stuff in the App Store, or are you gonna try a mix of different projects?
Yeah, I'd say really that app, the 10 I'm pushing by the end of the year is only half of what we have on this list that I'm looking at right now. So the second quarter of 25 is for the next 10. I plan to make them as Catalyst friendly as we can, and really a lot of what we do for these apps is not front end based, or if it is, it can definitely be extended for headless. So if anybody out there is seeing what we're talking about, don't think that it's just stencil only. I don't see why this couldn't be put into a headless environment as well. So yeah, we have Catalyst coming up. We're going to be using MakeSwift to make those beautiful for our clients, and then another round of apps in Q1.
It's amazing. That's awesome. And I guess, like, as a agency and a partner of Gadget, and also BigCommerce, do you have any other like feedback or improvements or like new features that you'd like to see in the coming months? As you push more into B2B, leveraging Catalyst and all this cool tech, like anything that would help make your lives as an agency that much better.
We've been really getting into TypeScript heavy, just to make sure that the code is locked down and streamlined as much as possible. I've read that there's going to be some improvements coming down the line for Gadget for that, but really that's the only thing I can think about. Yeah, we just have our heads down on the keyboards right now, but I'll spin that over to Corbin, see if he's got anything else to add.
Yeah, even just from a dev perspective, there's been some nice features already that we haven't had before. One of them being kind of like the hot reloading of the dev app in the store. So before we would have to spin up, if we wanted to develop locally, spin up the front end, spin up the back end, hook up everything local host, but then you still, because the app's using authentication through BigCommerce, you can't really view the app locally unless you turned off all your authentication, which make sure you put a comment in to put it back before you redeploy it. Or you have to like open up BigCommerce, open the app, inspect the iframe, get the payload token, and do all that. Whereas now, it's simply, if you just need to make an edit, you can go into Gadget, right into the editor you have on one screen, pull up your app in a dev environment on your sandbox store, and as you type in the code, it's just hot refreshing your app, and you're essentially developing locally right there from the get-go. And then being able to then hook that up to like VS Code with the command line tool you guys have that, save in the VS Code, syncs right up to the editor and Gadget, and then refreshes the app, has been a really nice development experience, not having to like jump through hoops, and to be able to test authentication and have like live data coming from the store in a development, like a local development environment, has been pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, great to hear. And so, based on everything that we've heard, today, and where you've been and where you guys want to go, what do you think the impact on an agency like yours is of all these tools, of MakeSwift, of Gadget, of Catalyst? Like, how do you guys see the future, of e-commerce and building here on BigCommerce?
Bottom line, it's going to let us bring things to market faster and make more money. If some things take longer, then I'm having to pay the developers more, and it's not out there making money. So it's going to be bringing those tools to our clients to help them sell more, which then cascades down to us, cascades over to BigCommerce, helps it, raises all boats. And really we are right along BigCommerce with their doubling down on B2B. I think that is where the future of e-commerce is going to be in 25, 26. Most of the world of B2C is already online. If you're not online in your B2C in 25, I don't know who you are. So, but there's a huge untapped market for B2B. And we're going to leverage all the tools that we've done before, and just keep on selling.
Awesome. I don't know if Katie wants to jump back into the conversation. There she is. It's awesome. I don't know if we've got any questions or any additional stuff for the oBundle team.
No, I'm glad that we touched on unified billing. I did just want to touch on that quickly since it is like new to GA. So I think we kind of covered everything, unless there's anything else that either Franco, Andrew, Corbin, anything else that you think this like app-centric audience needs to hear.
No, I think we touched on a bunch of stuff, and we did blow over a bunch of technical things. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to dive in, because we probably did the 30,000 foot view for sure. And it takes a lot to unpack Gadget, and I mean that as a compliment. If you could explain everything and understand everything in 10 minutes, then it wouldn't be the robust product that we know and love. So it's up here. If you guys want more info, dive down. There's tons of useful stuff to learn. Yeah, no more like open questions or anything.
Cool. All right. Well, I want to say a huge thank you to Franco, Andrew, and Corbin for giving our dev community a little look inside what it's like to use Gadget and kind of what your experience has been. If you're an app developer who's watching this and you're interested in building an app, we highly recommend giving Gadget a try. And next week, actually, this is perfect. Andrew kind of teed this up. Next week, same time, same place, we're doing another webinar with Gadget featuring Riley, their developer advocate. So it'll be more of a technical dive into using Gadget. So if this kind of piqued your interest, that's going to be a great webinar to tune into, so you can kind of see what it's really like to use it and to build with it. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, thank you everyone for joining. Again, thank you guys. Thank you, Gadget. Thank you, oBundle. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Katie. Thanks, Franco.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers.
See y'all.